radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Yeah, man. Fade to Black. Bespoke Radio. For the masses. Yeah, man. How you doing? Today's Wednesday, May 12th, 2021. 132 days into the new year, only 233 days left. We are live. We are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of nowhere. That's right. A total undisclosed location. It truly is. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful. This is my office, man. It's my office. I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? All right. Man, what a week, right? And we're only at Wednesday, folks. Letting you know. What a week on the show. And tonight, Nancy Tremaine is with us. Nancy Tremaine, for the first time. And we are going to discuss her life of contact and her new book, which is Enlightened, Chapters of My Life. And the links for the book are over at jimmychurchradio.com. And you can go and click. She has two books out. We'll be talking about all of that tonight. Tomorrow night, Jacques Vallée and Paola Harris are with us. Yeah, very exclusive evening tomorrow night on Fade to Black because it's the announcement and conversation about their new book. It is called Trinity. UFO MegaCon. That's right. Now, I've got the links up. Posted it out there. I've got it up. We've got the commercials running to remind you. We've got the banners over at jimmychurchradio.com. I want you to click. I want you to get your tickets. I want you to come out and hang out with us. I've been announcing this. I wanted it all to be a big surprise, but I'm just as excited about this. We've got some new T-shirts that will be there. We've got a bunch of new merchandise that I'm very excited about. And we've got a great booth and great location there in the vendor hall. So come and hang out with us. And of course, I'll be hosting two panels, one on Wednesday, one on Friday. I'm going to go do some sky watching. And Bob Brown will let me because he's the host. This is Bob's show. This is Bob's conference. And I think he got word. Jimmy likes to, be a microphone hog. He's going to try to introduce every single speaker. Bob's like, slow down there, Church. I might let you up there once or twice. So, but I'll be hanging out, and we've got the booth and food, drink, a casino, getting together real people for a live conference. I am so excited about this. I want all of you Fadernauts to be there. I do. I want all of us to be hanging out. You know how we do it. You already know. If you're a Fadernaut and you've been to conferences with me, you know what goes down, right? Conference is over, 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. We find a lounge, we find a restaurant, and we take it over. That's what we do, right? And we're going to do it in 3 weeks in Laughlin, Nevada, at the Aquarius Hotel and Casino. So I've done my part. I've got all the information out there for everybody. Get your tickets and come and hang out with us. Okay? All right. There you go. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Twitter has been crazy for me. I love Twitter. I do, man. I do. Whose birthday is it? Whose birthday is it? I see it. It's popping up. I need to know whose birthday it is. It's not my birthday. Is it Third Stone's birthday? Happy birthday, Third Stone. You need to give me a little bit more advance notice so I can get you into the birthdays. I mean, that's one of the things I like to do around here. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox, and that's where the happy birthday is popping up right now. Is it Third Stone? Happy birthday, Third Stone. 29? I'm taking a guess here. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. Hashtag F2BQ is Fade to Black questions. Let's get to the breaking news. Got a lot to cover tonight. Man. I don't have any. Well, no, I do kind of have some UFO news. Sort of. I'll get to that in a second. But gas stations throughout the Southeast are running out of fuel as Americans continue to panic buy following the Colonial Pipeline shutdown. I've seen all the pictures. People filling up trash cans. What are you doing? Trash bags. I've seen trash bags. What's the deal? It's not the end of the world. The supply crunch appears to be much worse in some major metro areas. Nearly 73% of gas stations in Pensacola, Florida are impacted. 72% of gas stations are reporting outages in Raleigh, North Carolina. I don't know what's going on. 70% of stations in Charlotte, North Carolina are out of gas. Nearly 60% of stations are impacted in Atlanta. And this is because of panic buying. You didn't need gas last week, right? The Colonial Pipeline launched the restart of its operations today, right? This evening, following a 6-day shutdown caused by a ransomware attack. But the pipeline's operators warned it's going to take several days for the service to return to normal. But it's over. It's over. People, man, calm down. Hoarding gas. I actually saw a picture. They had like 8 gas cans lined up, filling them. The hatchback is opened up, the hatch on this SUV. In the SUV, toilet paper. I'm just like, what? Oh, man. All right. You know what? In this situation, it's a ransomware attack. Okay, the pipeline was shut down. Okay, I get it. Nothing really happened. Everything came back online. Nothing really happened. Right? So, come on, everybody. Just get it together. All right? This is a great country. I mean, stop it. All right. Because right now over in Israel, Gaza Strip, it is out of control. Militants in Gaza have now fired more than 1,000 rockets into Israel since the latest flare-up began Monday afternoon. And the latest tally right now that they have killed 5 Israeli civilians and injuring more than 200 others. The Israeli military announced all of that today. Around 130 rockets hit Tel Aviv last night, forcing Israel's main international airport to close. Many of the rockets were intercepted by Israel's Iron Dome air defense system, but several did strike inside of Tel Aviv. Israel's military said yesterday that it had killed a number of key Hamas officials in what is described as Israel's largest strike since 2014. Israel saying they're targeting the leaders of Hamas. crazy. It's got to chill out, man. It's just got to chill out. We've got, after a year and a half, and we're still in the middle of a pandemic, here in the United States is chilled out, somewhat. The numbers around the world are insane. Here in the United States, we're starting to get a grip on things. But the rest of the world is still in the middle of a pandemic. And with everything that's going on, you want to fire missiles and bomb each other? Come on, man. Well, after 2 months of hyping Bitcoin, that's right, Elon Musk suddenly says Tesla will stop accepting it. Elon announced today that Tesla is abandoning plans to accept Bitcoin as payment for the company's electric vehicles, citing the cryptocurrency's high environmental cost after months of being bullish on it. That's right. What about Dogecoin? Right? Does that have environmental impact? Elon? More on Elon in just a minute. But also today, Ellen DeGeneres announced, amid toxic workplace allegations, that she plans to end her long-running daytime talk show sometime in 2022. The Ellen DeGeneres Show, which has won 64 Daytime Emmy Awards, is currently in its 18th season. The show will wrap after season 19, according to Ellen, and she will discuss her decision in an interview with Oprah, scheduled to air tomorrow. Sounds like ratings drama to me. I'm just saying. And I say just quit now, Ellen, if you're serious. I mean, serious. Show some nad. Walk. Seriously. All right. Also announced today, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 2021 inductees are Performer category, Foo Fighters, The Go-Go's, Jay-Z, Carole King, Todd Rundgren, and Tina Turner. And in the Musical Excellence Award, LL Cool J, Billy Preston, and Randy Rhoads. There you go. We've got Disclosure, and we've got Randy Rhoads in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Absolutely unbelievable. It took 40 years. That's all I got. That's all I got with that. You know what was great about this announcement today from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? No matter what you think, right? I can't argue with this list. I can't argue. That's strong. That is. I don't have any issues with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year. None. That's awesome. Okay, also announced today, I'm going to leave you with this. The U.S. Patent Office issued a utility patent number 11 million today. That's 1160000000, granting the milestone number to a patent entitled Repositioning Wires and Methods for Repositioning Prosthetic Heart Valve Devices Within a Heart Chamber and Related Systems, Devices, and Methods. Patent number 11 million. Was that? Couldn't have been anything cool, right? Well, here we go. My patent application is on hold because I'm waiting for patent number 11,111,111. That's a special number, which should be up for grabs in about a year. There you go. Let's get the show cracking. Happy birthday to today, Rami Malek. Today is 40, Mr. Robot, and of course, Bohemian Rhapsody. Emilio Estevez, today is 59, The Breakfast Club. He was so great in that. Burt Bacharach, today is 93. Steve Winwood, Ark of the Diver, right? Whew. Man, 73 years old. Billy Squier today. I just can't believe this. Billy Squier today is 71. Kiss drummer Eric Singer is 63. And guitarist Billy Duffy of The Cult is 60. I was talking to Peter Tackern. Hello, Peter. Today. That's a real long distance call. Yeah, I wonder if he's still in snow. But anyway, talking to Peter about these ages, man. Steve Winwood, 73. Man, that's crazy. Billy Squire, 71. And Peter said to me today, he goes, you got to remember, man, MTV, 1981. That's 40 years ago. And everybody that we listened to was probably 25, 30 years old. They got to be 70 today. It's crazy. Our dead guy's birthday today is, I need a moment of silence, please. I was going to post some pictures. It was a little rough for me to do, but Bobby Durango, 1965 to 2012, died at the age of 56. Bobby was the lead singer for the Rock City Angels. At the time of their signing to Geffen Records back in 1986, their record deal was one of the biggest in Hollywood history. And Geffen had two bands in their roster at that time. They had Guns N' Roses and the Rock City Angels. Lots of competition. Bobby and the band relocated to Memphis to record their first record, Young Man's Blues, which was released in 1988. I knew Bobby here in Hollywood. I knew the band here in Hollywood before they went to Memphis. And then, of course, I hung out with them and worked for them in Memphis. It was a lot of fun. He met my family, my mom, my dad, grandmother, my brothers, and even had dinner over at the house a few times. And we were pretty close friends. He was a great guy with a big heart and a very talented musician. In 2012, right before his passing, we did a 3-hour interview for my old show before Fade to Black. And we talked about our friendship. We talked about the old days and how excited he was to finally finish their new record and get back on the road. Bobby died a month later. Unbelievable. He was just 56 years old. Bobby, I hope you're listening, my brother. All right? Happy birthday. On this day in history, 1963, Bob Dylan walks out on the Ed Sullivan Show. Rather than choose a new number to perform or change his song's lyrics, Dylan decided to storm off the set in angry protest. That's the urban legend side of it. I think Bob was a gentleman and just said, nah, I'll pass. Fader fact. Actor James Franco once created an invisible sculpture called Fresh Air. It was described as an endless supply of oxygen. Well, Montreal web producer, social media marketer, model, and actor Amy Davison actually bought the sculpture for $10,000. That's vetted. That's a fact. That's a Fader fact. Tonight on the show, first-time guest Nancy Tremaine is with us. She's here for the first time. We are going to discuss her life of contact and her new book, Enlightened, Chapters of My Life. The links for the book are over at jimmychurchradio.com. Tomorrow night, Jacques Vallée and Paola Harris are with us for an exclusive evening right here on Fade to Black. And we'll be discussing their new book, Trinity, the Best Kept Secret. All right. Let me hit this River Moon coffee. I got a lot to talk about tonight. Elon Musk is back in the news, this whole Bitcoin thing. And I like to research and I like to do things. And somehow today, I got sucked into some Elon Musk conversations and interviews that he's done. And things that I had not seen before. Pretty recent, too, as well. But it got me to thinking. Would you go to Mars? This is a very serious question, so I'll ask it again. Would you go to Mars? There are, right now, thousands of people on this planet that have already made up their minds, like officially. They want to go to Mars. A journey to Mars, right now, is almost certainly a one-way trip. Don't make any plans to come back. This is what you must resolve in your mind and accept. You ain't coming back. You might not even make it there. But okay, let's move on to some other thoughts. I mean, do you consider your friends or family in this decision? Now think about that for a second. Certainly anyone who decides to go to Mars has a family, a wife, a husband, kids, parents, brothers, sisters, right? You would probably be saying your final goodbyes to them. Is this something that gets involved in the decision? Right? Your friends, your pets, they all stay behind. Now, today it's Mars, right? And it all sounds so dangerous, so final, right? Well, to be honest, if you make it there and survive, and you build your base camp, and you figure things out, and then you don't have a drivable steed, right, back to Earth, you could wait a few years, right, or 10, until you can hitch a ride on a return trip, right? Even if you wanted to come back. Maybe you don't want to come back. Maybe you want to stay. But was this the same considerations for all of the brave explorers in the past? Was Columbus married? I don't know. I didn't look it up. How about Magellan? He had a rough one. How about Shackelford? Right? That doomed trip on a sailboat. Right? I trip on this. Or anybody who decided to sail their ships over the horizon to a new world, not even knowing what's on the other side. They're just going to go and sail over the horizon. It's crazy. They certainly didn't have the comfort in knowing that maybe someday a rescue ship and its cavalry would come running after your distress beacon goes off. No, they didn't have that. Obviously, there were no radios or cell phones on a Viking ship. All of that goes without saying, and I understand that. But did they consider their family, their children, their wives, as they headed out for what everyone knew was going to be an absolute one-way trip? Now, here's the absolute truth. Somebody has to do it. There has to be a first. Somebody's got to do it. And every one of those somebodies has that relationship, a life that they must leave behind. As humanity discovered the world, it didn't happen with just one trip to the mountaintop. No, it didn't. Or to another continent or to an island. It happened and failed thousands of times. But we just kept going. The exploration continued. I was listening to Elon Musk today, and his comments about going to Mars were so direct. And I'm paraphrasing here, but he said, people are going to die. I was like, dude, yes, they will. This is a certainty. But many more won't. And no matter what happens, there will be millions of people behind them ready to go. Soon, during our lifetimes, going to Mars will be as common as air travel is today. And I know what you're saying to yourself. You know, Jimmy, why? How can you say this? Well, it's because it's our goal. We know that this is something that we must do. We have to do it. And to put all of this into perspective, less than 100 years ago, one lifetime ago, in 1927, this is 2021, in 1927, Charles Lindbergh completed the first solo nonstop transatlantic flight. 1927. Think about that. Really let that sink in for a moment. Because 60 years later, we were flying all over the planet, all day long. And yes, 60 years later, after 1927, we were flying to the moon. Nobody thought this was possible 100 years ago, but we got it done. This is what's happening right now with thousands of engineers, dreamers, and explorers. They are going to Mars. Those are the plans. So I'll ask you again, Would you go to Mars right now? Think about it. I would right now. Seriously. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Tonight, first-time guest Nancy Tremaine is here. It's going to be great. Want to remind everybody what's going on tomorrow. No Fader night. No open lines tomorrow. We've got Jacques Vallée and Paula Harris. They're going to be joining us to discuss their new book, Trinity. That's right. Wait till you hear about the week we have next week. If this week isn't big enough, or last week. It's great. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. I'll be right back with tonight's guest, Nancy Tremaine. Stay with me.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on jimmychurchradio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
This is Jimmy Church, and I'll be at the UFO MegaCon this June 6th through the 12th, 2021 in Laughlin, Nevada. The Laughlin UFO MegaCon is unique. It's 7 days of education and disclosure. It's unlike all other UFO conferences. The Laughlin UFO Mega Conference specializes in bringing you new people, offering new information and disclosure. All of this is offered at prices so low you can actually afford to be there. For instance, 7-night hotel packages, 1 or 2 people, start at just $320 inclusive. Education and disclosure is why the Laughlin UFO Mega Conference exists. Join us for all 7 days, or a half a week, or just a day or two, but join us. Go to LaughlinUFOMegaConference.com. Register now. The only thing keeping you from being with all of us is you. Just go to LaughlinUFOMegaConference.com. Introducing the Game Changer blend from Rivermoon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all Rivermoon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRARadio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, folks. It's troubling times, and fear is pushing emotions, which in turn pushes health the wrong direction. Do you ever get an ache because life is uneasy? Try Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. Life Change Tea works on your digestive tract, helping to move food through quicker and comfortably so your health is spot on. Life Change Tea may not help with world issues, but it will help with your digestive issues. A glass a day helps keep the intruders away. So, change your life today. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. If your health game is off, get on by ordering Life Change Tea. Getthetea.com. And while you're on our site, look around at the great non-GMO organic supplements. And if you're a sales shopper, go to our specials page and see what's for you. I've been drinking the tea for 12 years and I'm sure glad for its health benefits. Again, that's getthetea.com. Getthetea.com. The tea that makes you go.
Badernauts. When you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Nancy Tremaine is with us. First-time guest tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, Jacques Vallée and Paula Harris. What a great week on the show. Now, tonight, Nancy is here, and we are going to talk about her new book, Enlightened, Chapters of My Life. Nancy is in the middle of 5 children. She grew up in Novi, Michigan. Her father was a hydraulic engineer in the aerospace division of Vickers in Troy, Michigan. And in July 1961, Nancy, her girlfriend Cindy, Cindy's father, neighbors, and 2 Novi, Michigan police officers watched as a UFO hovered above a tree against a clear blue sky. Nancy has written 2 books chronicling her experiences. The first, Symbiosis, A Love Beyond Space and Time, and her second book, Enlightened, Chapters of My Life. Her story is the basis of a Broadway-style musical titled Hypnota, which is being written by artist and playwright Doug Old. Her links for her books are over at jimmychurchradio.com, and I would like to welcome, for the first time to Fade to Black, Nancy Tremaine. Nancy, good evening. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much, Jimmy.
I lost your video. Okay. All right. Oh. It sort of came back. Okay, Nancy, welcome. I don't even know what's going on. Okay. All right, Nancy, welcome to the show. And you get, Nancy, the first-time guest disclaimer. This is interesting. Okay, this is getting good. Okay, there. You get the first-time guest disclaimer, which is this. Nancy, it's just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends, and where the conversation starts, it starts, and where it ends, and we're going to end as friends. There you go. You ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah. You have a great. You have a great smile. You hear that a lot, don't you?
Yeah.
See, I don't have a smile.
I smile a lot.
Yeah, I don't have a good smile. I can't even fake it.
This is the first time with headphones on, and I wondered if I could walk around as I was talking.
Yes, you could.
It will help me. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Now this is getting better by the second. It's getting better by the second. Now, what I normally do, and this is what is so great. What I normally do, especially with the first-time guest, is we use this first segment to discuss your childhood, your crazy parents, the crazy uncle, the crazy aunt, you know, how you got into this and what was it like growing up and all of that. Well, actually, that's where your story starts. So it's going to make it pretty easy on me. And are we going to go back to 1961, or are we going to go before that?
We're going to start at 1961.
Okay. Let's start at 1961.
Well, I do have the crazy uncle.
Can
leave that out.
No, I don't know. I want to hear about the crazy uncle. But there's another strange part for me with 1961. That's Betty and Barney Hill.
Yes, and this was in July of 1961, and it would be 50 years before I would realize and be told that this was before Betty and Barney Hill.
Yeah, very, very interesting.
And you're the first one
to bring that up?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, there's going to be a lot of first times tonight. But what was, for you, when you go back to 1961, was there anything special about that time?
Well, it was summer vacation. We had just finished 6th grade, and it was a beautiful summer day. And my dad got home from work at 6:05 every night like clockwork. And I asked if I could go and play at my girlfriend Cindy's. We'd been friends since we were 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a direct, he could see her door from our front door, so he could make sure I got there safely.
Right.
My dad was very protective, very protective.
Can I get you to move your microphone down? Little further, right there. Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
So your dad is very protective, but Cindy, you could see directly from your house.
Yeah, our houses. I could see her front door from my front door.
And so what happened?
Okay. Well, we were inside her house playing, and her father had hollered for us to come out. He hollered girls, and we could hear the excitement in his voice. We had no idea when we walked out that front door that our worldview would be changed forever.
What is interesting, and I've seen your presentation about this. What is interesting at this moment? Did you see something, or were you watching the adults react?
No, we walked out the front door, and it was right there, right in front of us.
Right.
It was a beautiful silver flying saucer hovering above a tree between our two homes. And it was against a blue sky. It was a flying saucer. That was the only word that I knew to put to it. And it was totally silent. And when we walked out that door, and I always say this, it was like the part of the movie, The Wizard of Oz, where it goes from black and white to color.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly how it felt. And at that moment, I don't remember being afraid. It was just awe at the magnificence, the beauty, the size of it, and the closeness. I mean, it was so close. It was right in front of us. Her father was adjusting a small tripod telescope, and he asked us if we wanted to look in it, but I couldn't understand why he would ask such a silly question, because the ship was right there in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right there. There was a large belt around the ship, and a band of lights, red, green, and white. And I realize now that they were pulsating. I couldn't tell if they were pulsating or rotating. They were going so quickly. It was, I can only say that it was like a dream state, like being in a dream state. And someone must have called the police, because we watched as a police car slowly coasted to a stop right in front of where we had gathered. Cindy, her father, her brother, her sister, a neighbor, and his 2 sons. And when the police got out of the car, they never turned their back to the ship. And they walked up the slight incline that we were standing on and joined us. And I reached for the one police officer, his arm, and I tried to voice 3 simple words that came out in slow motion. I said, "Is this real?" Because I had to know what I was seeing was real. He never said a word.
And Cindy, let me jump in. You're in 6th grade. So you're not quite a young adult, but you are of the age where you know what you know what I mean? You're understanding things. And you see something like this, what the question is this real? That's perfect because you are of the age where you are understanding your world around you. And you see something like this. How is your young adult mind, trying to adjust?
Well, it was 3 months before I turned 13, and 4 months before Cindy turned 13. I just couldn't wrap my mind around what I was seeing. And we watched as a car started coming down Meadowbrook Road, and this is the road that my home is on.
Right.
And this car, we know whoever's driving it has got to be crazy because it's putting itself closer and closer to the ship, bringing itself right underneath. And then a beam of light came out of the bottom left-hand side of the ship. And it slowly started working its way down to the hood of the car. We knew it was aimed at the car. And no one was saying a word. It was just totally silent. Nobody said anything because we were wondering what was going to happen. And when the beam of light hit the car was immobilized. Now, at that point, I think I was in mild hysteria because I started jumping up and down. And I was yelling, "Over here! Over here!"
To the ship? You were yelling to the ship over here? Okay.
Yes,
and waving your arms and...
Arms. And Cindy was grabbing my arms and telling me to stop it.
I would have.
Stop it.
Yes. Oh, man.
And at that point,
right,
the ship tilted on its side. And it spoke. And it said, "We see you." And I realized that this ship was alive. It was a living thing. And it said, "We see you." And this is the point where I forgot everything.
Right.
That was the last memory I had. I was at home now with my father. And he was kneeling on the kitchen floor and holding me. And he was telling me that I was home and I was safe. And it didn't make sense. We were right in front of the clock on the stove, and I looked up, and it said 10 minutes to 9, and I saw the kitchen door was open, and it was getting dark outside. Now, I was never allowed out past 7:30. I mean, never. Spankings were very common in my home, and I obeyed my dad's rules.
Right.
And I was never allowed out past dusk. So I was confused why my father was so excited to see me. And I was silenced that night by my dad.
What do you mean? What do you mean you were silenced by your dad?
I don't know what I had told my father or what, but he grabbed me by the arms and he shook me. And he said, "You are never to speak of this."
Did you remember?
Mm-mm.
You didn't remember?
No,
Okay.
I didn't remember anything at that point, except that I had a secret that I had to keep. So but that night I remember very clearly standing on the headboard of my bed, looking out of my bedroom window at the exact spot where that ship had hovered that night and every night after that for a long time. And I would chant, "Please come back and get me. Please come back and get me." They must have left me with a very positive feelings and emotions attached to this, that I was willing to leave my home to be with them. So for 50 years, exactly 50 years from that summer to 2011, it was never spoken of again. I mean, never spoken of.
Now, Cindy, and I'm so sorry for rudely interrupting, but
No.
I think the point it needs to be made here, Cindy's your neighbor. She's your friend. You go to school. Everything is there. Her dad, family, brothers, it's all there, but it was never discussed after that day.
Just wasn't. Not with parents, family, husbands, and between Cindy and I, we had 7. So, and lots of therapists. I went to therapists over the years, and I would beg each therapist to hypnotize me. I said, "There's something inside me that has to come out." And I would be given a new medication and a new diagnosis. And there were a few times over that 50-year period that I would try to get Cindy to speak. All I would have to say is, "Cindy, can we?" And she knew where I was going. And she would put her hand out and start shaking. And I realized that neither one of us were ready. But I would draw a picture every year or two of that ship and the police and the car that had immobilized.
What did the police ever contact you again?
Well, this is where, this is what happened after the 50-year period of rage and rebellion and getting pregnant. And I was an easy target. I was molested twice. Cindy dropped out of school before me. She was a hardcore alcoholic, several suicide attempts. Then came September 1st, 2011, and I was playing on the computer. And I saw the word ufologist, which I never heard. I didn't know there were people who studied this phenomenon. And that was very comforting to know that there were actually people that knew about this. So I sent Dr. Harry Wellness, who was a research ufologist for over 55 years and a former Michigan State director.
Mm-hmm.
I sent him an email telling him I might have something you'd be interested in hearing. Well, he got back to me immediately. He called me. And I knew that I could tell him. I knew he wouldn't think I was crazy. So I told him everything that I just told you. And he wanted to meet with me. So we met a couple days later at a local pub. And he came armed with books and pictures of aliens. And he had me look at all these pictures of all of these aliens, and nothing. They just looked silly to me.
Nothing connected.
No. And then we spoke of missing time, another word I'd never heard of, and the word regression. which I only knew as hypnotized. And because we talked about why was it getting dark, what had happened, didn't I want to know? And yes, I wanted to know. I wanted to know everything that had happened. And he asked me if I could draw a picture of the ship for him. And I drew that ship with the police, the car. He was really impressed. We talked about a regression therapist, and he was worried that it might cause more harm than good because of me being molested. But I wanted this regression, and I needed it. And he found a regression therapist, and the three of us met at Dr. Harry Wellness's house on September 11th, which was just 10 days after I had told him. So things were really moving quickly.
Sure.
And I had my first regression at Dr. Wellness's sister's house because he wanted me to be comfortable. And just before the first regression, I was thinking to myself that I might be too smart. He might not be able to regress me. But I must have really needed it because I was out. I didn't remember anything from the whole hour except being paralyzed. I couldn't move my arms and legs, and I was frustrated. And I was saying, my body is waving and rumbling to the low hum of the ship.
You went right under. What is interesting about that is I've often felt that, people that are smart, they think that they're better than hypnosis, right? And not me, right? Not me. And then the next thing you know, it's you, right? And that's what happened.
And regressions don't go in order. What happened was my first regression and my second regression were reversed in order. I was running home. That's what happened, the missing time. I was running home. And during the second regression, I'm saying, I can run fast, and I'm hauling ass. And you can hear I'm out of breath. I'm running.
Right.
And I'm saying, they're going to get me. They're going to get me. Please don't get me. Get Cindy, too. I don't want to be alone. And I knew how they were going to get me. And I don't know if they told me or how, but I knew how they were going to get me. And it was with a shock in the middle of my back. And I was waiting for that shock as I was running.
Right.
And when that shock hit me in the back, I was frozen in position. My arms and legs were frozen, like a cartoon character in position, locked. And that's when they put me on my back. And I was in this euphoric wave as I was going up into the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no fear at all. And I don't know if they were able to control that because it was a beautiful feeling. And I knew I was going up into the ship. This is the point where I became Nancy Drew. After that second regression, I became my own private investigator. My first move was to go after Cindy, my girlfriend who was with me. And we had been in and out of each other's lives for half a century because of her drinking, which drove me crazy. And I had 3 illustrations at that time. I had drawn 3 illustrations. And I called her, and I was anxious and excited to get to her house with these illustrations. And she was going to talk this time. She was married, and her husband was really sick. He was on oxygen, and they slept in separate bedrooms. And when I got there, I right away I said, we need to talk. And I said, can we go in your bedroom? And I told her to sit on the bed, and I sat on the other side of her. And she saw I had illustrations in my hand. And I said, Cindy, this is really important. And I produced the first illustration of the ship immobilizing the car. And she started to shake, and she said, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I thought, no, And I produced the second picture of her, of the ship tilting on its side. These pictures are drawn by 12-year-old Nancy, and they're in the first book, Symbiosis. And I showed her that picture of the ship on its side, and her grabbing me, telling me to stop it. And she said, that's exactly as I remember it. And then I produced the third picture of me in this wave. And she said, you were gone. You were missing. We couldn't find you. And I was thinking to myself, she really just said that?
Right.
And so, of course, I wanted to know, what were the first words that I said? Where did I tell you I'd been? And without any hesitation at all, she said, outer space. Certainly the words of a 12-year-old child.
Right.
We both started crying, and we held each other. And I want to tell you, this is the closest bonding I have ever felt with another human. At that moment, we realized, and we were remembering, and we were comforting each other. For years after that.
Nancy, we need to take a break, and let me get that in now. So just stay right there. Take a deep breath. Get some water. And we'll be right back after this short break. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Nancy Tremaine. And Nancy is with us for the first time. And the links to her books are over at jimmychurchradio.com. Tonight, Enlightened, Chapters of My Life. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Stay right there. I'll be right back.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
This is Billy Carson with ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Forbidden Knowledge TV has just reached its 1-year anniversary. That's right, 1 year. And as a show of appreciation, we are giving all new subscribers a free 30-day trial of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's 30 days to binge watch thousands of movies, documentaries, conferences, workshops, lectures, yoga classes, meditation courses, and so much more. So log on to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv from your computer or mobile device, or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iTunes, or Google Play today, and use coupon code 30daysfree. That's coupon code 30 days free on ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer. Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
Hello, I'm Katie and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Well, we are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Okay, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, our guest is Nancy Tremaine. We're talking about, well, both of her books, but Enlightened Chapters of My Life is her latest book, and the links are over at jimmychurchradio.com. And now, everything started in 1961, Nancy, and this is the thing. Over the over the 50 years, and certainly going back to 2011 with Cindy, did you start to remember those few minutes in front of your house? Did all of this come back as I wanted to say a real memory, but it was blocked out from before. So did it start to establish itself as a real memory?
Yes. Over the next 4 years, I recorded our phone calls and our memories, and we would piece together. There were things I remembered that would jar her memory, and vice versa. And she was the first one to bring up there was a military investigation. Now that was way over my head. I couldn't even address it. I didn't understand it. But she remembered that.
Yeah. Let's stay right there for a second. That's very interesting. And again, Nancy, I'm going to ask you to pull your microphone down to your chin. There you go. Okay. Is this so? The military came to Cindy and her family?
Well, yeah. My dad, they flew my dad to California. It was the only business trip he'd ever been on in his life. And he was offered a job position in Australia, which he turned down. And I remembered being taken to stay with complete strangers. I still remember their last name. And I thought, I brought it up to a cousin of mine just a few years ago, and she said, yes, those were friends of my dad's mother, my grandma, on my dad's side. But she took me there to get me out of town.
Okay, so...
And of course, my dad said no to the job position. We remained in Michigan. The only comfort that the citizens of Novi received was the church right down Meadowbrook Road from my house. It was an Evangelical United Brethren church. And I was going through the archives. I said I was Nancy Drew. I was going through all the Novi archives.
Mm-hmm.
And I found this title for his sermon the following Sunday after this incident. And it was titled The Martian Question. And there's a picture, it's in the book, of the newspaper article. And there's a Martian. And the minister was saying, he was trying to give comfort to all those who had witnessed it. Novi at that time was a village. It was very small. It was all dirt roads. But he was trying to give comfort, and he said, wouldn't it be nice if these are benevolent beings here to help humanity?
Was he referring to what happened the week before with you and the family?
Yeah. Even today, a church sermon titled The Martian Question would be unheard of. Yeah. Cindy also remembered being on board.
Now that was my other question. Okay.
Yes.
Let's back up to that moment when you got stunned in the back. Now later, Cindy said that you were missing, and you said that you were in outer space. But you were running. You got stunned in the back. Did the same thing happen to Cindy?
She had no memory except that she was in a tube, and she was in a cylindrical tube suspended above me as they were, the Greys that were doing a laparoscopy on me. I'm kind of jumping all over. When I first got on the ship, I ran right past the pilot, and I knew he was the pilot because
he was piloting.
He was a man, and he was sitting there.
Right.
And I stood in the middle of this room, circular room, and I said, I can't believe I'm on a flying saucer. And he said to me, it's a ship. And I could feel, not only was he talking to me telepathically, he was sharing his emotions with me. I felt his humor at my stupid remark.
Flying saucer, right.
And I ran to the window. It was those red, green, and white flashing lights that I'd seen from the outside.
Right.
From the inside, it was just window, circular, all the way around, windows. And when I got to the window, I had to stand on my tiptoes to see out. I was so tiny. And I could see that we were hovering above the tree. The tree. And
now, I want the audience to know, you gave this motion. The audience can see me. You gave this motion that you went like this. The windows, so you're standing in the middle of this, but the windows, the lights that you're referring to, you could see all of this, right? It was just one band of windows going around.
Large windows, yes.
Right,
yes.
right. Okay. And so you get up on your tippy toes. I like that. And you peek out the window.
Yes. And I could see Cindy's father. He was the only one there. Him and the telescope. The neighbors had gone back in their homes.
Right.
The police were gone. There was no police car. They were gone.
That doesn't make any sense. And what about,
No.
This is crazy. And
It is crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
It is crazy.
And so the car that got immobilized, it's not there. But Cindy's dad with the telescope is. Is he looking up at you, by the way?
Yes, he was. And he was blinded by the
He's like this?
the sunlight.
Right,
yes,
right.
and the light from the ship. And his hand was like this.
Now, was it okay? Look, you're 12. This is kind of fun, right? Is it fun? I mean, what was your emotions like?
Well, when I was laying on this table and they were doing this laparoscopy, I was terrified, and there was a long needle, and I'm still terrified of needles to this day. And they told me that they wanted to see inside. And the reason they said those words was because at 12 years old, I would have never understood that they wanted to harvest eggs or look at my female organs. And they told me they wanted to look inside. And that's when they brought Cindy on board. I was screaming and fighting. I want Cindy. I want Cindy.
Right.
And she was there. And I'll inject this real quickly. She did have one regression. And during that regression, she said that the reason she believed she was on the ship was because Nancy needed me and because God wanted me to be with her. She had one regression with my regression therapist, and she spoke about the grays, and she kept saying those eyes, and those skeleton bodies. But in one of our phone conversations, I recorded her saying, "They were really nice." And she said that twice, and I said yes. And they were. They weren't meaning to hurt me. And my regression therapist said, "Are they doing this with malice?" And I said, "No, they're just doing their job." There was no malice. But the one, I remember he got his eyes right up into my eyes, and he said, "We're going to do what we're going to do." And all this fighting and, so I relented. I totally relented. And after they did the laparoscopy, they placed a cylindrical metal object in my right hand. And I instinctively knew that I was supposed to curl my fingers around this object. And I looked at the three small grays, and they were looking at the wall. And I realized now, and then, I didn't realize then, but I drew a picture of it. And it was only after I drew the picture, and you could see all their eyes looking at the wall, that I realized that they were monitoring what they were placing in my hand, the information they were giving me. And I know that this information they were giving me is the information that I'm sharing, and all the experiences that I was to live through. It was all there. And I was told, take this baton and run with it. Be an ambassador. Now that's really ironic, because I was in track and field later on when I was 15, and I was the one who took the baton and ran home with it. Ended up we got a gold medal for that. But there's irony there.
So the object in your hand, and the audience needs to understand how this conversation is happening. Nancy's looking at me straight in my eyeballs, telling me that, and your recall and the way that you are seeing everything is pretty fascinating to watch you do this. But you held up your hand like this. So was it? I don't want to use the word download or upload, but it sounds like something was happening like that. Am I understanding this correctly?
Yes, and I think your word download is perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Yes.
Was there, okay, 2 questions. These are Jimmy questions. So just go with me on this.
Mm-hmm.
Did you smell anything?
Yes.
What did you smell?
Over the 50 years that I was silent and I kept telling therapists, there are memories attached to this burning smell that comes to my nose. I would get this burning smell to my nose, and I knew it was attached to memories. I didn't know it was what memories. And I would find out that it was electricity, ozone, from the ship. And when we were kids, Dad would give us the sparklers to run around the backyard with the sparklers.
Right.
And that always brought that.
Sparklers will do that. Yeah, sparklers bring back memories in everybody. You remember those little snake thing pellets you would light and they would turn into snakes? You know what I'm talking about?
We weren't allowed. Yes, we weren't allowed to do anything that was dangerous.
But you know what I'm talking? The smell of those to this day takes me to a place. Okay, so, but the ozone smell was the smell that you had inside of the ship.
No. It was the smell that kept the memories for me for 50 years.
Oh, that's even more.
I don't remember smelling the ozone while I was watching the ship. It was over the 50-year period that I remembered that ozone smell. And it would come to me every year or so. And it would only last for a few seconds, and I'd try to grasp the memories that were attached to it.
Right. And the other question that I had, when you held the baton, was there an electronic sensation? Was the download physical?
No, I didn't feel anything except that I knew that I was to curl my fingers around it, and I knew that it contained something.
It's interesting. And so the Greys are watching the download speed. Right? They're watching, right? They're watching, exactly. Okay, we're at 80%, we're at 90%, download complete.
And Cindy was put back. She was only up there for a very short period of time. And that's when I went. I know it sounds crazy. To outer space.
Right.
That's when the ship was missing. And I was gone. Yes, Cindy was back.
How did you know? Nancy, that you were in outer space? Were you watching things through the window?
No.
How did you know?
No, because I told Cindy I was in outer space, and because I was gone for. Well, there was that missing time. And I wasn't there, and the ship wasn't there, and so I was in outer space.
Right.
And Cindy and I spent 4 years talking about and piecing together, and then I brought in the former Police Chief Lee BeGole, who was on duty that night, and. He became like a father to me. And he told me about the military investigation. Well, first, before that, he told me about the car that was immobilized. It was an unmarked police car driven by an officer by the name of Martin Cohn. driving an off-duty police car, which then puts 3 police officers on the scene.
Right, right.
Now, I didn't ask him about the military investigation for a long time because I couldn't go there. And in August of 2015, Cindy was found dead on her kitchen floor. Her husband had just died 10 months before that, and she had literally drank herself to death.
And that was in 2016. So from
August of 2015. So
15.
from September of 2011 until August of 2015. And Police Chief BeGole was involved in the phone calls with me from October of 2011 until 2017. So when Cindy died, he was all I had left. And I clung to him. He never had children. So I was like a daughter to him. We spent hours on the phone. I loved him like a father. And he asked a lot of questions, and he gave me a lot of answers. And I realized that he needed to talk about this as much as I did. I didn't realize that.
Right.
At the time, I didn't.
Was he the police chief in 1961, or was he one of the officers on the scene?
He was the police chief in 1961, and he was the one who took calls for over 20 minutes at the station. One of the calls came from a city councilman's wife, who was a very good friend of his. And he got a call from the officer in the unmarked car on the two-way radio. They had two-way radios back then. And Martin Cohn said, "Strange object overhead, Sind cars." And that's when Police Chief Lee BeGole sent the 2 police officers in the marked police car.
Right. What happened with McGall is his name? BeGole. I'm sorry. With BeGole, when he was immobilized, what did he tell?
No, he wasn't immobilized. He was at the police department a few miles.
Oh no, that's the police chief. But the
Police
unmarked, I'm talking about the unmarked car. What did they feel, and what did they tell the police chief happened to them? Him.
Well, he took the chief to the spot later, where the ship had hovered. I've got that recording, and showed him, where the ship had hovered. And of course, I asked if there were any marks, and the chief said no, there was nothing there. But he talked about the military investigation, and I remembered as soon as he said words, I remembered looking out the window and seeing a police car with its lights on, escorting a car up my driveway, and my father becoming my father. Get in your bedroom, pointing at the door of the hallway for me to go to my bedroom, and shut the door. Well, I was a nosy kid. I didn't shut the door all the way. I could hear my dad yelling and swearing and screaming. And I jump all over the place because it's so complicated. After Cindy died, after that, I was walking in the park behind my apartment, and she spoke to me, and she said, those men, they came to your house. They wanted to talk to you. Your father threatened to kill them. And that's when I knew I could avoid the military investigation all I wanted with BeGole, but now I couldn't anymore. And that's when I brought up the military investigation, and I recorded that, and he said, Well, you knew that. You knew there was a military investigation. And I didn't. Positively, absolutely no, until that moment. And he said they came in from the Air Force. They came in from New Mexico or Arizona doing an investigation. What's the word he used? Doing an investigation. And he said he thought my father made a mistake not letting them talk to me. And I said, Chief, I was only 12.
Right.
You know? And my dad wasn't about to let them talk to me. I said, my dad would have killed them. He would have killed them before he would have let them talk to me. And after that, my dad was so protective with me. I was grounded all the time. I told the chief, I said, I was grounded all the time. I couldn't go out and play like other kids. And when dating time came, I mean, my dad was just,
Forget about it. Yeah.
Yeah. There were such strict rules, but I realized that the reason that I was grounded all the time is because Dad wanted to know where I was. And when I was home, I was safe. And my dad was in World War II. He was a combat soldier. And so I didn't realize that he had post-traumatic stress disorder too, you know, hence all the spankings and his temper. He loved us kids. He was a devoted father. He was a good man.
Well, let's yeah, go ahead, finish. I was going to say we can take our break now. We've got about 15 seconds, Nancy.
Oh, I was just going to say I was always my dad's favorite.
Well, of course. Of course. Let's take our break right here. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, our guest, Nancy Tremaine, is here talking about her book. It is called Enlightened, Chapters of My Life. The links to everything are over at jimmychurchradio.com. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. This is Jimmy Church, and I'll be at the UFO MegaCon this June 6th through the 12th, 2021 in Laughlin, Nevada. The Laughlin UFO MegaCon is unique. It's 7 days of education and disclosure. It's unlike all other UFO conferences. The Laughlin UFO Mega Conference specializes in bringing you new people, offering new information and disclosure. All of this is offered at prices so low you can actually afford to be there. For instance, 7-night hotel packages, 1 or 2 people, start at just $320 inclusive. Education and disclosure is why the Laughlin UFO Mega Conference exists. Join us for all 7 days, or a half a week, or just a day or two, but join us. Go to LaughlinUFOMegaConference.com. Register now. The only thing keeping you from being with all of us is you. Just go to LaughlinUFOMegaConference.com. Fadernauts. When you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRAradio.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, our guest is Nancy Tremaine. More with Nancy in just a second. Tomorrow night, Jacques Vallée, Paula Harris are here talking about their new book as well. Right now, I want to talk to you about Virtual Shield. Virtual Shield VPN. You've got to get to your own VPN. This is the world we live in today. I've got a top secret bunker, secret location. Nobody can find me. One of the reasons why, well, first off, I'm in a secret location. Second reason, I use Virtual Shield. I've got my own VPN. Nobody can find my location through my ISP. Nobody knows what I search. Nobody knows what I do. You need to be like me. It's very simple to do. I do it for a lot of different reasons. Number one, strict no-log policy at Virtual Shield. Everything you do is not logged. That's number one. Number two, encrypted servers all around the world. You need this. virtualshield.com/fade to black is where you go. You can also click on the link in the video description box below, and you do that, you will get Virtual Shield VPN for 50% off today. Do it now. All right, do it. My guest tonight, Nancy Tremaine. And Nancy, I want to back up for a quick second. We kind of went over this really quickly before, but so from 2011 to 2015, that gave you the opportunity after 50 years to hang out with Cindy and talk, right? And the how do I say this? There must have been a lot of emotions going back and forth, but it is also something for you to be able to confirm these memories and these experiences that you shared, right?
Absolutely. I believe that we were programmed, the three of us, Chief BeGole, Cindy and I, all three of us were programmed to awaken 50 years later. And I say, is that part of the Eisenhower Treaty? Was there a 50-year, I don't know. But it's more than ironic that we would all awaken within a 1-month period of each other.
Right.
Me first, Cindy second, and then the chief. And he never spoke of it either. He did an interview with the Detroit Historical Society I did with him, September 6, 2017, and they have yet to release the interview. But I have the entire thing recorded on 2 different recorders, and I brought a former police officer with me. I said I was Nancy Drew. And anything that's in the book that I said is a transcription, I have the recordings of everything. So the interview still hasn't made it. And it's sad because BeGole said he wanted to do this interview, not just for me, but for all the people of Novi that had suffered. And he spoke freely. He spoke about the military investigation. And the Detroit Historical Society had done an interview with him a year prior, and that one's up. And, the definition of a historical society is an organization dedicated to preserving, collecting, and researching. That is their purpose, to help future generations understand their history. So I'm really pissed. And
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's another point. You keep going back to Nancy Drew, which is something that you bring up in the book. I'm Nancy Drew. And I want to point out, as we were getting into this conversation earlier, the sermon that happened that you went and found, the Martian question, you've got this in the book.
Absolutely.
Everybody can
Everything
go.
I'm telling you.
Yes,
I have all of it.
It's right
Every
here.
single word.
And this Martian question sermon is the church for all, by the way, right? For all the church. That's pretty insane, right? It's one thing when I say insane, it's insane to put all the pieces together, to hear you say it, but here it is in the book, and you can see it for yourself. That's Nancy Drew. That's Nancy Drew getting it done.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Nancy's just laughing at me right now. Everybody, that's what's going on. But
well, I dedicated Enlightened Chief BeGole for caring and daring and sharing information, putting his stellar reputation. All you have to do is Google Police Chief Lee BeGole, Novi. There's videos of him. He was police officer of the year in 2019, and he hadn't been a police officer for years. He died.
Now your microphone is all the way up to your eye.
Sorry, just keeps going up.
Yeah, it's. I'm watching it move. I don't know what's making it move. It's crazy. It's going up and down. And earlier, I didn't want to say anything about this. Just tell me that your window was open.
My window was open.
Yeah, just tell me where the blinds are to your right there.
Yeah, the blinds are right here.
Is the window open?
No.
Because the blinds have been moving through this entire interview.
That's my cat.
Oh, that's your cat.
She walks behind
Man,
me.
I have been tripping on that.
Oh.
I've been watching. I'm like, man, there's something in the room. The window must be open. Now, okay, so it's the cat. I've been watching it.
Yes.
Been transfixed on that, man. Okay, all right, let's get back to business here.
Get back to Chief BeGole. He died February 29th, 2020. Just a few months shy of his 100th birthday. Of course, I hadn't seen him or talked to him since 2017. The Detroit Historical Society, because he got to the point where he couldn't go up the stairs anymore, so he was moved in with family. And I think that they kept him away from me. But I did stay on Facebook, and I'm still friends with his nephew, Brian BeGole, who is also a police officer, sheriff of Owasso County here in Michigan. And when I told him I dedicated the book to Chief BeGole, he said that he was going to bring him to meet me, and I was so excited. And it was just right after that the chief went downhill and ended up in the hospital where pneumonia, and he died. I went to his memorial. A friend of mine, Jeff Dimmers, who actually published Enlightened, took me because I was a mess. Losing Cindy was enough, and then when Police Chief, it was just too much.
Sure, absolutely. I wanted to ask you this because I've got a bunch of questions before we get to the next segment, because I want to talk about some other stuff when we come back. But your incident, it's Meadowbrook Road, right?
Yes.
Was not the only sighting in Novi.
No, there was another really good sighting, another daylight sighting in 1972 by Mrs. Florence McDermott, who happens to be the grandmother of Bill McDermott that I went to school with. Hi, Bill. From elementary, junior high, and high school. And he couldn't ignore, these people that I went to school with. They follow me, but they never bring up any of this stuff.
Right.
And he couldn't ignore when I posted that newspaper article I found of her sighting.
Front page news. There she is.
Yep.
There she
is.
And
they made it really look silly. A teetotaler. She said I'm a teetotaler. But and she had other people with her. There were 3 or 4 people with her.
4 witnesses.
There was an actual report made this time.
Right.
Yes.
And what did she see?
God, where are my notes? Yeah.
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
3. She saw 3 ships, flying saucers, and it was a daylight sighting. She was hanging out laundry, and I'm just pulling from what my memories. Her next door neighbor was her daughter-in-law, her son and daughter-in-law. And she came over and she told her what she had seen. And she said, she was joking with her. What you've been drinking. Sure enough, there comes number 2. So then a man came and he was there, and they all saw the second and third one. So...
Well, I have to ask, what is it about Novi?
Well, also, Novi just went on the map less than a year ago. This is where the $1 billion was, the $1 billion winner, multi-billion dollars. That was right down the road from where I grew up, less than a mile from where the ship had hovered. The Kroger, they bought the lottery ticket there. It was several people had bought it. But it was Novi. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, that means your roads are going to get paved, right?
They're paved now. Novi's a big city now. Yeah.
But yeah, what is it about Novi? I mean, have you thought about this? If you go back, and I want to go back to the moment in 1961, that ship is there for a reason. Okay. The lit windows from the outside, the visibility, the appearance, it's there. It's being seen by so many people. It's Novi, right? And then you got McDermott. 10 years later, it happens again. I'm just blown away because Novi is not. This isn't Detroit, right? It's not even Lansing. It's Novi. Right?
It's Novi. Yeah, everybody teased me. You live in the sticks, It's not the sticks now. It's a pretty big city now. And BeGole set some really high standards for the police officers. They had to have a 4-year college degree, and no record, and those were the days when, police officers were, friends with everybody.
And
you know.
and staying with this because BeGole had to deal with McDermott in 1971. You and your situation in 1961, the Air Force being there investigating in this small town. He is the police chief. He's got to deal with all of this. And what, right? What did he tell you? What was his life like for those 50 years?
Well, we talked a lot. He told me that, well, he never married. He was in love, and she died, and that was it for him, which I thought was a really beautiful share with me.
Right.
He had been in 2 wars. His brother was killed. His brother was killed. His plane was shot down in World War II. Yeah, he'd gone through a lot.
And now he's dealing with UFOs. And with this, did he become an investigator of the UFO subject? Was he forced into this world?
No, he didn't talk about this with anyone. And Martin Cohn, sadly, had died. I said, well, let's get a hold of Martin Cohn. And Martin Cohn had died just before 2011. And the only one left is Dick Faulkner. He goes by Dick. He's the one that turned FBI. And I approached him, and I tried to get him to speak. And he acted like he didn't know what I was talking about. And I said, the UFO from 1961. And he turned his back and walked away from me. This was at Chief BeGole's 95th birthday party. And Chief BeGole and I talked about it, and he said he's FBI now, and he's in his 80s. He's 13 years older than me, so he's in his 80s. And Chief BeGole said he probably didn't want to talk with you about it because he had been told not to, you know. And I believe he's still alive. I check obituaries every few months, you know, to see.
And the Air Force investigation, what did BeGole have to say about that? Did they approach him?
Yeah. He said they came to the station, and he said they knew how to talk. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, they knew what questions to ask to help. And this is in my recording, and I'd just love to be playing it. They knew how to talk. And I said, what do you mean? Well, they knew what questions to ask to help jar my memory. Now, why would they want to jar his memory from something that had just happened? Yeah, he was letting me know that they were telling him what he was going to feel or say. Yeah.
How to change his story? How to alter the story?
No, he never did. He just never spoke about it. We were all silenced. They went door to door. The military went door to door. And you know there were pictures taken. The ship hovered for over 20 minutes against a clear blue sky. Mr. Lutz, Cindy's father, had time to get the telescope set up. So you know there were pictures taken. There were absolutely. And you know that the pictures that were taken were taken.
Would you call this because you were, brought yourself into the UFO community in 2011, but now you must understand that this was a Men in Black situation where now you've got them in town, and they're going to do what they have to do with everybody there, and that's exactly what went on, right?
Yes, and that's when my mom took me to stay with the strangers after that. Just get me out of town. I remember being very confused and very, I felt very unloved. I didn't have a close relationship with her to begin with, so it was really hard. And I don't know how long I stayed with these people. Their last name was Sheehy. They had 3 boys, and she was very nice.
When you say you don't know how long, was it for a summer? Was it for a week?
No, it was just for a few days, because also in the Novi News article of the church sermon,
right,
is my sister's announcement to get married. So her wedding announcement was in the same newspaper with the Martian question. I mean, there are just so many synchronicities to my story. I mean, and we haven't even gotten to the high strangeness.
Yeah, the picture that is in that church sermon is crazy.
Is that crazy? Yeah.
Yeah, that is crazy. Before we get to the break, so you're with the Sheehys for a few days. Your dad goes to California. Mm-hmm. He gets the job offer for Australia, but what happens with him while he was in California?
I don't know. I just remember that it was a really big deal that my dad...
The military, nobody in California asked him about you or what happened in Novi?
My dad never talked about what happened in California. We never spoke about it. My dad and I never spoke about this event ever, ever, ever. It just... that's the way my family was. Sweep everything under the rug. You know, we've got the uncle that molests everybody, and family knows, but just sweep it under the rug, pretend it doesn't happen.
Right. Wow. Now, this is the other part. And I asked you about this earlier. When we come back, we're going to talk about what being an experience or coming out has been like for you. Over those 50 years and going up to finally get back with Cindy, as you are assembling these memories and putting it back together for you, the ship itself, when you said that it was above the trees, help me understand the size of it. Are you able to understand, the size of it now today?
Yes, it was at least as large as our 3-bedroom ranch home, but it was twice as tall. It was large. It was good size. And the 12-year-old Nancy that drew the pictures, you can see the size of it, compared to the tree. And yeah, and there's so much that we haven't even gotten to the mental boggle point yet with the high strangeness. The pregnancy that I went through.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
I was dating a man in 2012, and I'm just going to tell it like it was. The chemistry between us was unbelievable. In bed, out of bed it wasn't, but we were having sex, and words just came out of my mouth. They just came out. I said, "I'm pregnant, and it's a boy." I didn't have any control of saying what I said. And after that, there's a picture in the book, and Linda Moulton Howe called me. I sent her a picture. We can jump of my pregnancy and an event that I had with angelic beings. There's so much. I tell you, she called me in November of 2016, and she said, and this is her quote, and I love her. She said, "I've never been put off by things that are described as incomprehensible. And only the mind of a really great researcher would be able to say those words." We talked for a long time. I was lucky enough to meet her in 2018 at the Ozark Conference, and we were alone in the car driving back to the airport for 2 hours. I got to spend talking with her. But she said in all 1,500 women that she had in the abduction syndrome, I was the only person that has described the pregnancy and shown a picture. Now, I'm very tiny. You can see that right here, and you see the picture in the. And the guy that I was dating, I call him Sid, someone I dated, kept saying, "What's up with your stomach? What's up with your stomach?" And I said, "I'm pregnant," and I was. And pregnancies last. What was removed April 15th. Another synchronicity is I was speaking at Ozark on April 15th. The day that he was removed. I mean, the dates throughout the book, the synchronicities, they're unbelievable.
How old were you in 2012?
I was 62, and I had had a tubal ligation,
right.
And I had gone through my change of life very young. I started my change of life when I was like 39. So there was absolutely no way I could have gotten pregnant, but I was. And I had morning sickness. And I remember the date was March 8th. And another synchronicity, that was the day that of BeGole's, not funeral, but memorial. And I had morning sickness for like 24 hours. And it was just like when I was pregnant for my daughter. I mean, I knew. And Sid would make light of it. It was almost like he couldn't wrap his head around it. But I was pregnant, and I was given the name of my son. You know, I want to say, this is a term coined by the late Jim Myers, the mental boggle point, when even the most open-minded are confronted with information so unbelievable that the mind succumbs to a rubber band effect, snapping back to things that are more comfortable and socially acceptable. So I understand that a lot of people are going to, but it's also helping people who are experiencers and have experienced what I did. I'm validating you. I'm validating them. And
I've only got about 20 seconds. Oh, by the way, Lee BeGole, that dude, this picture of him, he's the coolest guy ever.
Isn't he the coolest?
He's the coolest guy. His son looks pretty rockin' too, as well. But
no, he never had any children. That's his nephew.
Oh, Chief. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that's his nephew. He looks pretty cool, but Lee has got it together. Lee has got it together. But the emotional side of this, the toll that all of this has to have taken, and I've only got about 15 seconds before we have to take the break. How are you today? Right?
I'll be honest with you. I suffer with post-traumatic stress disorder. I have panic attacks, extreme depression, but I've learned to live with this. This is how I live every day and cope. When we get through with this interview, I will be completely emotionally like a dish rag. But it's okay, because this is cathartic for me.
Right.
And I'm helping people, and this is my mission. My mission is to share this information that is so unbelievable with the people who are experiencing it, to know that they're not alone. This is going on.
Well, Nancy, you have to know. You're going to hear this from me. You have a great smile, and you've got awesome hair. You've got awesome. We'll be right back after this short break. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Stay with us. Nancy Tremaine.
everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. We also carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to GetTheT.com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's GetTheT.com.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from Rivermoon. Just click on the Rivermoon Coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRARadio.com.
When you're in the house for longer periods of time, you can see them flying or running across the floor. Ooh, yuck. They're unhealthy, gross, and disgusting. Bugs. I loathe bugs. We keep a clean home, but occasionally bugs show up. Well, I found something that is tougher than bugs. Orange Guard. On contact, it kills hidden bugs, including ants, roaches, and fleas. Plus, Orange Guard is a residual repellent. All of the ingredients of Orange Guard are on the FDA generally recognized as safe list. Orange Guard may be used around food, humans, and pets. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Orange Guard, available at orangeguard.com, Whole Foods, and Ace Hardware.
Gold loves chaos, uncertainty, and disarray. History shows us what gold does when people aren't sure about the government, the stock market, their jobs, or their retirement savings. Our national debt is skyrocketing. Gold and other precious metals are a defense measure against inflation and a stock market that might take years to recover. So what can you do right now to protect yourself? Call United Gold Group. We offer gold and other precious metals delivered securely within 72 hours. Are you worried about the stock market? We can also help you set up a real gold or silver IRA or a 401k. Safe and secure. United Gold Group makes gold ownership affordable. Call now and get up to $2,500 in free gold or silver with a qualified IRA. Call 800-753-8534. That's 800-753-8534 or visit UnitedGoldGroup.com.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Nancy Tremaine. And both of her books are available. The links are over at jimmychurchradio.com. And Nancy, okay. I want to talk a little bit about our community and you being exposed to our community, which is wonderful. and going through the book, and I see so many of our mutual friends there. Kevin Estrella, for example.
Yes.
By the way, an amazing guitar player. Did you? Okay, you are aware of the
We're very
dude's-
good friends. Yeah.
You're aware of his shredding abilities. His UFO stuff, nothing compared to that guitar work. He's just. I hope he's listening
very
right now,
gifted.
Kevin. You know we love you. But then there's Grant Cameron.
Sir Grant Cameron.
Yeah, no question about it. And Linda, and for you too, because it's a nervous step, right? These are steps that you have to take. But you get exposed to the community, and the community is a wonderful place, isn't it?
Well, I'm so honest. It's really difficult. It's not easy. I thought this was really going to be I would be welcomed and loved, and there's a lot of egos involved in this, and a lot of politics, and a lot of jealousy.
Welcome. Welcome.
So, I'm not going to lie. I'm telling it like it is. And
Yes.
it's yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like people that have positive stories too. And we've got I'm looking at the time and I'm thinking, my God, we haven't even talked about, these are the reptilian, the pilot was reptilian.
Right.
We didn't even get there. And there's just so much.
Well, I warned you. I told you this was going to happen. I told you we were going to run out of time. And that's the best part of doing this show is running out of time. It's I do 3 hours every single night, Nancy. I never have enough time, and you would think, right, that there's enough time to get all of this in. And reptilians is one thing. I want to talk about the Buddhist monastery. That's what that's where I want to go next. But,
really?
But yeah, I do. Okay. All right. But before we get there, let's talk about the reptilian. Okay. So what happened?
I'm going to do it quick. Yeah. Well, people ask, who are the reptilians? Well, I've only dealt with Mr. And he was in human form, like I said, when I was on the plane. On the ship. They are teachers. They are scientists. They are researchers studying the emotions of love, rage, fear, and sexual pleasure. And empathy is their main concern. They study this via the pineal gland. And there was a first of its kind study on empathy done. And America is seventh on the low. Below Peru, Korea, Saudi Arabia.
Sure.
We are not the empathetic people that we, and humanity is losing empathy. And that's why they're here. They've always been here.
Well, okay, so is empathy what people think of when there's an abduction? That doesn't sound too empathetic, right? And I understand what you're saying. I totally hear you. But for others out there that hear about this and the visual of a reptilian and the way that they've been represented in culture, the word empathy is not what people think of first.
Well, they're missing so much because I've got an entire book on the love and the messages and the information that I've been given.
When you were first when you're 12, empathy is a word that you probably have never heard of before, but you understand the feeling of empathy, right? And so when you are doing your thing, you're running around being a 12-year-old. Did you feel empathy from the pilot?
Well, I didn't know that.
Right.
At the time. Oh, did I feel empathy from the pilot? Yeah, he looked like anybody's father. And the messages that I receive are of love. Whenever I want to ask a question, I get an answer. Maybe not right away, but I kept asking, who are you that were giving me these messages? Because I knew they were coming from a place of love. And I was told, you ask who we are. You have only to look in the mirror. We are you. We are all one.
Did you understand what that meant?
Well, these are messages that I've gotten since 2011, all
Right.
of this information that I'm sharing now. Yes. We are not alien to this planet or any planet. We've always been here. Yeah, their main concern is for the planet, and hence the hybrids. I don't understand all of it. A lot of it's over my head, but I know that I was chosen for this mission and to be doing exactly what I'm doing right now, speaking about this. The way that we communicate, there's so many ways. There's a knowing. I know information and I don't know how I know it. It just is there. And then visions. They put these visions in my head like an old the slide projector until I draw it. And necromancy, which is communicating with the dead. This is something that I did before I awakened, long before that, with my grandmother. She came to me after she died. And Cindy, that was necromancy, her speaking to me. And my girlfriend that was murdered, that was necromancy. And then samadhi, I've experienced samadhi. And so much has been going on. 10 years I've been doing this, and 10 years of high strangeness. And it just gets, as you go through the chapters, and that's why I called it the chapters of my life, each chapter becomes more and more unbelievable. The Buddhist monastery, that was August 12th, 2018, and Sokusan had read my book. And
He's the monk at the monastery.
yes, he is, and he's a lovely man. Hi, Sokusan. And I was invited to speak, meet with them at the Buddhist temple. And
well, you guys get in touch because he's read your book.
Yes, yeah, and he really enjoyed the book.
And the monastery is right there in is it Battle Creek?
Battle Creek.
Home of Kellogg's, I believe.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. And you can tell I'm from Michigan when I whip out those kind of facts. I
was greeted. They were so open-minded, smiling faces, and just beautiful people.
And he's got an interest in ETs and UFOs.
Oh, absolutely. Dr. John Mack, who and you said Jacques Vallée was going to be on tomorrow, and I just love him.
Yeah, he's great. He's great.
Yes, he is. I've used some of his quotes in my books, and yeah.
So back to the monastery. You're invited to speak.
Mm-hmm.
The picture that's in the book, it's not quite what I think people would picture when they're thinking of Buddhist monks in a monastery.
Yeah, it's like going to someone's home. You take off your shoes when you get there, and there's a lot of hugging and kissing. Just beautiful people, beautiful, loving. And I knew nothing about Buddhism at all, except for I had to laugh because Kung Fu.
The TV series, right.
I had a crush on David Carradine because he was that gentle, loving, non-violent man, which I'm always attracted to. So I said to him, I want to come completely ignorant, an empty slate, and make my own judgment. And so when I went, I had no idea what I was going into. And they took me out for a lovely meal, and we had we had some private time with his wife, Unyo, and
What did you guys talk about?
we talked about Mr. And we went into it was really weird thing that happened. We went into where we didn't talk. He wanted us to just be, and that's what we did. And it was really weird because I felt myself almost on a wave. We had tapped in, and I knew I'd tapped into Mr. And I felt his arms around me, and he told me I was safe. And I told Soka-san that, and he said, yes, you are. And
The microphone has now moved up to your eye again. So crazy. I'm just watching it just go whoop, whoop, whoop. When you're there, I'm looking at the picture, and so you've got the group around you, and what did they ask? I'm so interested in this. What is it that they wanted to hear from you?
Well, I told him about symbiosis. We talked about the first book. The second book wasn't out, so we talked about symbiosis, and nothing shocked them, or they were just all ears.
Were any of them experiencers? That's where I'm going.
I don't know. None of them had said they were. But it was weird because when we were in the room, Soka-san, his wife, me, and I'm sorry, I can't remember your name, but he was going to become a monk just like a couple of weeks after that. And when we got through in our calm quiet of nothing, Soka-san asked what we felt, and his wife said she felt water. And it's weird because I said I felt like I was in this wave again.
Right.
And God, I feel terrible because I can't remember his name, but he said he wanted to tell me something. And he was apprehensive. And I looked at Soka-san, and Soka-san said to him, you can tell her. And he said, and he looked me in the eyes, and he said, I saw your death.
What?
Mm-hmm. He said, I saw your death. And you were with... He said, your death will be very unusual. I'd have to read my own book too, because I take notes every day.
Sure.
I keep a diary every day, but it was something to that effect.
I'm on the edge of my seat. What? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
He said he saw your death.
He saw my death, and it would be very unique. Unique was the word he used. And Mr. would be with me. Yeah.
He didn't leave it there. What else did he say?
No,
that's it.
That was where it was left. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was a lot for. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I'm pretty cool with unique. Right. I saw your death, and it's just going to be average. Right? I saw your death. It's no big deal. No, you want to hear unique. What do you think he meant? You've thought about this over and over again. I know you have.
Yeah, I have. Well, I've already thought, well, maybe, the dear government,
Sure.
Maybe I just might know too much or say too much. I mean, my chapters. Do I have time to read something real quick?
You do. Take all the time you want.
Well, I thought this was an important chapter. There's so many. I mean, my girlfriend's murder, the numbers, which is unbelievable. My phone going to these numbers. Anyways, I wrote something in my sleep. In 11/29/2017. I always keep pad of paper and pen, and you could look around here and see the mess. When I got up, scribbled across my pad were these words: realities or illusions are a part of the delusion we have created. We are living in a delusional illusion of our making. We are all players in this fictional theater we perform for our creators. A muse existing for our audience. The stage is set at birth and our performance has begun, end quote. Now, outside of this scribbled words that were just blowing my mind, and I held on to it for 12 days before I shared with Kevin Estrella and Grant, Sir Grant, because I just couldn't wrap my head around it. But outside of that was a circle that I had drawn, and the words consciousness, sound, light, energy, all of those words were within the circle.
Mm-hmm.
And I understood that that circle depicted the womb that gave birth to humanity. And then outside of that, I had written 3 words in quotations, the what is. And I was to understand that the what is God, or the cosmic mind. So like I say, I held on to that for 12 days. And Kevin Estrella, who has been part of so much of what's going on, a quantum physicist in Mexico wanted to reach out to me, and Kevin gave him my email address. And I shared my writing, what I had written in Sleep Statement, and he wrote back. He said that my words were compatible with the words of a man by the name of Paul Brunton, a.k.a. Raphael Hurst, a best-selling author, spiritualist, yogi.
Mm-hmm.
His words not only validated what I had written, you know, he had written that the world pattern is written out like a stage play. The author is God, and stage play. Now, another synchronicity, Hypnota, the musical being written, my life. These are the chapters of my life. This is how I live my life. You can't make this stuff up. I can't make up these dates I just want to say one thing. Let me know when I have only got 2 minutes left, because I want to end with I was actually given something that I was supposed to end this show with.
Okay.
Which is what they do. I get my messages either from Mr. or from the collective mind, and I'm either led to the computer to find something.
There was a word that you said, and it's also a chapter, but muse.
A muse.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, and I'm a muse a muse, and I use that word, and here I am, a muse for a Broadway musical written by
Doug
yes,
Auld. Yes.
Doug Auld. Yes. Cindy and I, the 2 main characters. He's written 18 songs, and it's hypnota.com, and you can hear some of the music he's written. It's unbelievable. Genius. I don't know how much time we have. I don't know if I know we don't have enough time for me to talk about another.
No, we can.
Chapter.
We can. Let's talk about another chapter. Let's forget about the commercials. I don't care about the sponsors. I want to talk. Okay, Nancy? What's another chapter that you would like to discuss? I have got a list of chapters here, and we can spend time.
I know.
on...
I just
Okay, so what chapter would you?
I'm going to hit the wall. Is what I'm fearing. I'd like to talk about this email that I received from Jose Benella Lopez, who is a quantum physicist, and we've become great friends over the last since 2017. And he sent me a PDF. March 27th of 2020. And I thought, I'll just read the first few pages. Well, I couldn't put it down. It's written by a woman by the name of Elizabeth Clare. She received a standing ovation at the 11th International Congress of UFO Research Groups in Germany. And she was applauded by scientists in 22 nations. And in 1983, she addressed the House of Lords in England, and her paper was read at the United Nations. Her book mirrored so much of mine, I couldn't stop. She, like me, longed for that ship to return. She, like me, had a son, a hybrid son, that stayed behind to be educated. The synchronicities, I found my story within her words, and I wanted to reach out to her, and then found out that she had died. But she wrote, she had spent nearly a lifetime before awakening, just like me. And she realized why. She said, no wonder it's been almost a lifetime before you contacted me. I was suddenly thankful and humbled for my years of training and self-discipline instilled since childhood that now enable me to understand completely with my mind the intricate secret of light and how the spaceship created the cosmic energy to use itself as a source of infinite power. There is always a reason for things to happen the way they do. One cannot expect everything to be handed over on a platter. She questioned if she had somehow nurtured some precious being who would change her whole life, and had already begun telepathic communication with her. We both question war and humanity's waning of empathy. Her words express what I could not. To destroy one's fellow creatures and one's planet is an inflection of mass insanity. Violence and destruction are but a symbol of power for the race of humankind on Earth. Vast masses of people who have barely evolved beyond savage, flesh-eating murderers. They are barbarians whose one ambition is to destroy the way of tolerance and coexistence with all nature. It is not yet understood. Instead, a twisted state of mind exists, spawned by centuries of wrong thinking. Humankind on planet Earth is thereby a product of its environment. Our present state is the culmination of every choice we have made. Her words were beautiful.
Strong.
And strong. And I just wish I could have gotten to meet her.
Yeah, she was extraordinary. And
you had heard of her?
I've read her stuff.
You have?
Yes, I have. There's another part of this UFO community. I've been at this for 50 years. I'm 58 years old, and so I'm going back to the age of 8, 9, 10 when I started jumping into this. I never let up. But there is, when you meet somebody like Grant, Cameron, or Linda Moulton Howe, and others out there, there are so many like them that know so much. Yes. We study, we research, we're trying to get to the answers. There's knowledge that we seek. It's an endless, right? You know, like a Buddhist monk, right? you're never going to master anything. Just keep going, right? You're never going to, and that's what this is, and that's what it's been for me. And that's all I do is research, and I've done it forever, Nancy. Now you said that you had been giving something. This has been an extraordinary conversation tonight, and I want to thank you.
I want to thank you.
No, thank you. It's just an amazing conversation. That you were given something for us, and I would love for you to share it.
First, I want to say thank you to Jeff Dimmers with ET Publications and Dr. Gregory Sova, who has taken me down another path of Jungian psychology, and Doug Auld. And yes, here's what I wanted to say. I was led to this. There was a 75-year Harvard study, the number one secret to living a fulfilling life. Human beings are actually engineered for love. We are made for love, as if our DNA contains this message. You must love and be loved to survive. And basically that's been the message that I've been receiving from the collective mind and Mr. is love. It's all about love. It's that simple.
We need more of it.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we need more of it. Nancy, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much.
It was just an absolutely amazing conversation. And I can't wait for the next time that you're on the show. And we'll be able to just pick one thing and do the deep dive. Does that sound great?
Yeah. Yes, it sounds wonderful. Thank you, Jimmy, so much. You know, that was my brother's name, my brother that named me when my mother was pregnant.
That's the universe.
Jimmy, yes.
You're the best. Thank you so much, Nancy. Enjoy the rest of your night. Say hello to your cat for me that is running around in the background. You're the absolute best, Nancy. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you.
You're the best, Nancy. Thank you so much. Nancy Tremaine, and Nancy's links for both of her books are over at jimmychurchradio.com. I'm going to take a quick break. And on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet, I'll be right back. Stay with me.
Listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
This is Jimmy Church, and I'll be at the UFO MegaCon this June 6th through the 12th, 2021 in Laughlin, Nevada. The Laughlin UFO MegaCon is unique. It's 7 days of education and disclosure. It's unlike all other UFO conferences. The Laughlin UFO Mega Conference specializes in bringing you new people, offering new information and disclosure. All of this is offered at prices so low you can actually afford to be there. For instance, 7-night hotel packages, 1 or 2 people, start at just $320 inclusive. Education and disclosure is why the Laughlin UFO Mega Conference exists. Join us for all 7 days, or a half a week, or just a day or two, but join us. Go to LaughlinUFOMegaConference.com. Register now. The only thing keeping you from being with all of us is you. Just go to LaughlinUFOMegaConference.com. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at jimmychurchradio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
This is Billy Carson with ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Forbidden Knowledge TV has just reached its 1-year anniversary. That's right, 1 year. And as a show of appreciation, we are giving all new subscribers a free 30-day trial of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's 30 days to binge watch thousands of movies, documentaries, conferences, workshops, lectures, yoga classes, meditation courses, and so much more. So log on to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv from your computer or mobile device, or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iTunes, or Google Play today, and use coupon code 30daysfree. That's coupon code 30 days free on ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
This is Kristen, Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JamieChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What a week. What a week on the show. What a conversation tonight. I want to thank Nancy Tremaine. What a conversation. Highly emotional for me to engage with Nancy, because I can see her. You guys can't. And lots of emotion flying around. That was strong. That was strong for me. And I've opened up the phone lines. We don't have Fader Night this week, folks. Nope. So now is your chance. 747-228-2051. 747-228-2051. There is a lot to unpack from that conversation. There was one point that I brought up during tonight's show, which is everything that Nancy, when she says Nancy Drew, it's a very strong point, because that is what the book is. Nancy had to go back after, and if you think about everything that is laid out here, going back to 1961 and everything that happened, and there's a lot there. There's a lot to unpack, and it's all in the book. But everything that she's talking about being the Nancy Drew that she became, because she wanted to know. She wanted to go find out. She's got information. She lives where she lives. She's going to go out and figure all of this stuff out. And she did. And it's all in the book. It is an incredible read. It's an incredible read. It's all right there. I keep going back to the Martian sermon because when something like that comes up in a conversation like we had tonight, and that sounds too extraordinary, right, for all of us. I get that. I totally get it. It's in the book. It's right there. The sermon, the page from the church with this spaceman thing, and it's right there. You have to understand, that's what Nancy became. She went from Nancy Tremaine to Nancy Drew. To get with the police chief. Lee's incredible, and his photograph in the book is timeless. You have to go and check that out. For all of that to come to a head in 2011, and getting back with Cindy, and being able to spend 4 years with Cindy to get all of these memories back, and to talk about this. Cindy did have her regression too as well. It's just an incredible story. It's an incredible, and to come back out into this community. And she brings this up. Oh, by the way, the phone lines. Oh man, don't even tell me I didn't turn them on. Okay, we're good to go. 747-228. That's my bad. 747-228-2051. Where was I? Oh. So it's the illustrations, the drawings, and to turn around and present those to Cindy, and start to, in 2011, bring all of this back with your friend that lived across the street, to have all of that happen, and then turn around and come into the UFO community, which is something that you experience, I think, and it certainly happened to me, with excitement, and you assume that everybody in the UFO community has the open mind that you do, and is going to be inquisitive, wants to know, wants to ask questions. And then you find out, as you get into this circle, that it's not necessarily as warm and as inviting as it seems from the outside. And I was warned, and Nancy went through this. I was warned about this. And Jimmy, be careful. You've got to, there's this person over here, there's this person over there, there's this. And I was like, wait, no, it's not like that. Oh, it is. It is. And I look back, to 20, 25 years ago, where I was with all of this. 1995, where are we? We're at 2021. Wow. Today I'm secure. Today I know who is who, and today I've been able to build up this circle of trust around me, and I'm totally cool now. But wow, what an awakening! And Nancy, with this emotional experience that she has gone through, you want to be able to come into the UFO community and discuss this and get through this and figure it out. It's not that easy. Being an experiencer in this community is not something simple. It's not. And there's another part to it. There are those, empathy is a good word. There are those that are in this community that are experiencers that have been through this. They're cool. They're there. They want to hear what you have to say. They want to share, and that part of it is great. And then there's the other part. There's a tremendous amount of ego. It's a strange experience to go through, and you don't. And this is my advice, and Nancy, if you're listening now, this is my advice to anybody. You do not want to be silenced. You don't want to get uncomfortable. You don't want to start to pull yourself back in because because now you're apprehensive to begin with before you get into the community. You don't know who to talk to about this. You don't know what to do with it. You don't know what to do. And then suddenly you get into the community and you get clamped down, and suddenly you want, no, that's not what you want to go through. So the advice is as simple as tell your story, help who you can. Get out there, communicate, open up, because being silent doesn't do anybody any good. There's too many people out there that are going through what you're going through and what I'm going through, right? And so that's it. Okay, 747-228-2051. Got a couple of calls on hold. Let's just see who's up for. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, Jimmy. It's Deb. You've actually had me. I've heard every word you said.
Oh, is that right? You heard every telepathy.
No, you've had me. I've heard you live on the air while I was on hold. It went live, and I've heard everything you said.
Okay.
And I agree. And I agree with you. You just have to be honest and tell your own truth, tell your own story, and if you share your experience, people aren't. If people don't believe you, oh well, fine, but you can't keep it inside because it'll drive you crazy. A good person to trust is if you can find, like I was very fortunate to find a very good regression therapist who's dealt with people who've had these experiences that you can trust and feel safe with. That's very, very important.
Well, what'd you think about the conversation tonight?
It was very, very emotional for me to listen to. I was totally vibing with her because when you speak of this stuff, and I tweeted about it, where I can tell, I totally believe she's genuine. She doesn't just spill it out like it's just very matter of fact, and it's just like she's reading from a script like so many experiencers do. And I'm not saying that they're frauds, but with her, she's processing this. You can almost feel her visual memories going through her mind as she speaks about this, and the emotion that went with it, and then trying to categorize it because you're asking her a lot of different questions. So she's trying to, keep things in order in a sense. And her truth really resonated with me. And I felt I could feel the emotion. I could feel it. And it was beautiful.
Yeah, there were, everybody processes and deals with things differently. Everybody's different. I've done enough interviews now. I've done enough shows to know this. This is something that you learn over time. Everybody's different. We're not the same, right? And so there are experiences that are emotional, number one. But number two, when you turn around and speak about them, it's difficult to get your mind and your tongue and your mouth together on the same page because you're affected so much emotionally. There are others out there that are able to just spew it out and get it out, just speak, where they're not affected so much about their emotions. They're able to do that. There are others that these are traumatic, deep, heavy experiences that are part of your life. And for her, we're talking about 1961, right? We're in 2021. Yeah. That happened before I was born. By a few months, but that's a long time to be dealing with this and processing this and thinking about it, investigating, doing the research, putting all of this together, trying to answer the questions, trying to figure out what happened, going through therapy, doing all of this. And then you turn around, she hasn't done that many shows, but you come on a show like this, and this type of platform, and you are not doing this all the time, your emotions are going to take over. And that's what happened. I was watching it happen. I was like, okay, I'm not going to interrupt. I'm just going to let this,
No.
I'm just going to let this happen the way it's happening.
Well, and the way you interviewed her was perfect, Jimmy. I mean, her pauses and everything, it was perfect, the way that you just let her speak, because it started out where at first it was a little slow, and then as you really start to listen, it's like, no, this is real, and for me, I felt that. And
no, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure everybody started to understand that very quickly.
And I'm grateful that she did her own I mean, let's face it, no one's going to have the answers for her. So I'm glad that she turned into her own Nancy Drew to find her own answers and her own truth, and then over the years gather more and more and journal everything and share it, because, again, hopefully it's going to help people.
Yeah, and having Grant and Linda there, Kevin Estrella is strong, and others to help guide you through not only the UFO community, but how to deal with this in general. I mean, that's when this is one of the things that affected me, which is this. Really, it's no communication with her dad. All right, he doesn't want to talk about this. She's got a strange relationship with her mom. And the only two, it was just her, Cindy, and Lee, the BeGole, the police chief. That's it, right? That's it. And so she turns, records all of the conversations, and is trying to get to these answers. But it was the three of them against the world, and that's amazing. It's just amazing to me. Amazing. It's a great book.
Yeah, well, I plan to get it. And then I loved her response when you asked her about entering the UFO community. It was a very honest response, because you do have an impression that, everyone there, is like-minded. I'm going to be warmly embraced and they can relate. And instead, what it's like 50-50. And it's rather, I don't want to say upsetting, but it is. It's emotionally upsetting to see so many cynical people who supposedly believe in this stuff.
Yeah, they're supposed to be open-minded, and they're supposed to be grounded,
right.
and
they just want to shoot the messenger and not even listen to they just want to shoot the messenger. It's like a knee-jerk, reaction, and it feels so unfair. But again, you have to just, like you said, you have to just share your truth. If people don't want to hear it or believe it, it doesn't matter. It's your truth, and hopefully those that do receive it, I think of Chris Bledsoe when I speak of this too. I think that he's very genuine, and he's just sharing his information to help people, and she strikes me the same way. And I really thank you for having her on. I really appreciated it. And I do have one question before I go, Jimmy, because I know you have other callers, but when do you think you'll ever have a regression?
No. Ain't gonna happen.
Not up before at all?
No,
never.
No. I don't know how many times, Deb, I can say, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I had Alan Steinfeld on the show last night. Said it to Alan. How many? Had Yvonne Smith on the show recently. She's the best. I don't want to know. I am comfortable with where I'm at. I just right there. I don't want to know.
For now.
No, like forever. I've only got, look, I'm 58. I've only got so much time left on this big, beautiful blue gem of ours. And I'm going to write it out the way I am. That's it. I'm not going to do any regret. No, I'm not.
You don't want any deeper answers to your questions.
No, not of that. No. I'll crack a textbook. I'll talk to any archaeologist. I'll talk about ancient history. Let's talk about Egypt, the Mayans, the Aztecs, North, South America. I'll talk about Asia. I'll talk about science and the future and abductions, and we'll do all of that. But I'm not regressing nothing. No, I don't.
Okay.
No.
Fate or not, right down the state, because we're all going to be watching for the day that Jimmy is brought to his own personal.
No, it ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. It's not. It's really not. And for me, what I've seen, what I've experienced, what I've gone through, and then it's all in a good place. It's all in a good place. I have the answers that I need. I don't want to know anything else. I'm being serious. That's it. That's it. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. My brain is too strong. There's nobody that's going to be coming up, with a pocket watch. You're getting sleepy. It ain't going to work on me. It ain't going to work. Nope. I got the blocks built in.
They don't use a pocket watch, just so you know, but
you're getting sleepy.
Anyway. Well, just so you know, Jimmy, you have the best smile in radio, so don't downgrade your smile. You have a great smile.
Yeah, all right.
And do some good brotherhood, brother. Gotta go.
I'll talk to you. Have a great night.
You too, dear. Bye.
Right on. Tomorrow night, Jacques Vallée, Paula Harris are going to be here, and their new book, Trinity. Now, I realize how much is out there right now about the new book and about Jacques and about Paula and what's going on in this case, 1945, Jose Padilla and things. There's a lot of information. Well, there's been a lot out there. Not a lot, but there's enough out there about this case that we kind of can assemble some things, but the real stuff is going to happen tomorrow night. And I'm looking forward to having Jacques and Paula on the show. So I realize everybody's going to be here, and you're going to be on the edge of your seat, but I'm going to be on the edge of mine, and I am really looking forward to that. I do want to thank Nancy Tremaine for the amazing conversation tonight and for having the conversation the way that we did. It was incredible. It was incredible. For me, I do a lot of shows. Tonight was one. That was absolutely incredible. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Nancy's books are over at jimmychurchradio.com. You can just click on the links right there. And there you go. Fade to Black's executive producers, Rita Camurian. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2021 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll see everybody tomorrow night, Jacques and Paula, right here. Until then, I want everybody to be safe. It's time to fade to black.